All right. Cut that one off real quick. All right, we're on, bro. What's
All
going on,
right,
Dan?
cool.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I was weak.
Yeah, it's good. Just
Same old
working
crap.
and working and working out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did a double workout yesterday so I could do this today.
Man, you've been working out like consistently for a long time.
Yeah, like 18 years. Well, I've been riding bikes forever, but
Oh
gym.
yeah.
Last 18 years, I'm on the bike and in the gym pretty much most
Damn.
days.
I wish I had that much energy, bro. I can't do anything.
Uh,
I'm just getting
well,
fatter. It's called that's good then, bro. All right. So then, well, like I told you, if you want to get into this OJ
all right. Yeah, let's
video
do
real quick.
OJ.
So it's kind of like a little follow up to our first episode. You told me your theories. I never thought much about it.
I gave it a lot of thought, and I really, really went a deep dive and searched out evidence about it. And I basically was able to, basically give a discover exactly what he did, why he did it, how he did it, the timeline, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because the evidence is there. It's clear he did it. I mean, dude, you found Nicole's blood, Ron's blood, and OJ's blood on the floor of his house. I mean, yeah, the police did that. They brought blood from all three victims, all two victims and OJ, and put it on the floor of his house to frame him. I mean,
Did they find blood in the Bronco too?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, they found all their blood in there too. So it's
that's crazy. I think I heard that, but I never really put much thought into it. So yeah, I don't get how the hell he got
yeah.
clear.
Cato Kalin, who lived with him, does a podcast now, and he was talking about when the police showed up, they went into the main house, and then when they were walking out, they were going to go to the police station for a interview, and the cop told him, "Hey, watch, don't step on the blood because there was blood on the floor
Mm-hmm.
on the tile." And Cato was like, "Oh yeah, oh sheesh, there is blood down there." And then when they tested it, it was a combination of all three.
Well,
So how the police put that in there, right? Why would
well,
they do that? It's
or is
just
that is
dumb.
that actually the angle that that they used and this defense used that it was all set up like they set them up.
Yeah, the police set him up. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
ridiculous. How would they didn't even know anything? These people were going to get murdered. Then they just happened on the scene. They're like, you know what? Let's set OJ up, like on the spur of the moment. It makes no sense.
No, it's funny.
So
Well, I mean,
these two people get murdered by somebody else, according to the defense. Then the police say, you know what? Let's collect some blood from both of these guys and take one of the gloves, go to his house, somehow get it into his Bronco, get it into his house, the blood of all three of them, OJ included. How you get OJ's blood there is impossible, but it's there. And then let's put the glove in the back of the house behind Cato's living quarters. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the only
yeah.
reason he got off is because the jury was majority black, and black people were pissed off at the LAPD at that time, and so they were, they basically they knew everyone knew he did it. They just gave him a pass because they were trying to give it to the man or
Well,
the
well, this was
LAPD.
after the riots, no, after the Watch riots.
Yeah, it was a little bit after that,
Yeah,
so
I
they were
guess.
pretty pissed off about that.
Who the hell said it? Somebody said Joy Reid. I think she said that shit. That OJ got off because of she said a stupid comment. Oh, that it was because now two white people were killed by a black man. People, something like that. Like she was proud of it. Like I forgot how she had phrased her answer, but it
Well,
was
she's
something
got a little
stupid.
racism in her.
Oh yeah, Joy Reid is a despicable person, man. She's
Yeah,
horrible. She really is. But all the whole damn channel, MSNBC, all of them, everybody is
yeah,
Jesus Christ. CNN, Caitlyn, all these. I can't believe how much fucking hate these people have, man. It's just crazy.
yeah. They're
You,
pretty
you
sick.
yeah, you would think they're getting away with a lot of shit that they're doing towards Trump with all these trials and everything. And just the way they talk about it, man. I brought it up a bunch of times already, man. I just can't believe the amount of hate that they have towards this guy. Like, just no rest, like no sympathy at all, like nothing, like just real complete hate towards him. Like, it's fucking crazy, man. But I brought that up a bunch of times. All right, let's get into this video real quick.
All right.
So I guess he wrote a book, and then I guess to promote the book, he wanted to do. Fuck, I guess he needed money, man. He must have been broke.
Yeah.
He did this interview where he has to talk about it in person. We get to see this guy confess to it. So you seen this one, right?
I did. I seen it several
The
times.
chapter 6 is called The
Can you
Night
hear
in
that?
Question.
Yeah, I hear it.
And you write in the book, now
It's not
picture
too loud,
this
is
and
it?
keep in mind that this is
It's kinda loud.
hypothetical.
Hypothetical. Yes.
Why don't you tell me what might have happened on the night of June 12th, 1994?
There you go. That's good.
Let's just walk through the night.
Right there. How's that?
This is very difficult
Yeah,
for me to do
good.
this.
That's good.
It was very difficult for
Yeah.
me because it's hypothetical. I know and I accept the fact that people are going to feel whatever way they're going to feel. They're going to, whatever they want to feel. In the book, the hypothetical is
Charlie pulls that up.
Charlie. This guy Charlie shows up, the guy who I had recently become friends with, and I don't know
I wish I
why
could
he had been
stop
by
this.
Nicole's house, but it told me you wouldn't believe what's going on over there. And I remember thinking, well, whatever's going on over there's got to stop, right? So we kind of hooked up together, and I'm kind of broad stroking this. We go over, get in the Bronco and go over.
Let's just go back and do the details. Where did you park?
This is the detail.
You park
In the
I
hypothetical,
wonder
go in
what
the
he
Yeah.
said right there.
you park in the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I
And
could pause this so we could talk.
You
Damn,
put
I don't know
on-
where the hell.
a wool cap and gloves.
It's all
In the
right.
hypothetical, I put on a cap and gloves.
Right.
Yeah.
And you reached under the seat for
A knife. I always kept a knife in the car for the crazies and stuff because you can't travel with a gun. And I remember Charlie saying, "You ain't bringing that." And I didn't, right? But I believe he took it.
Charlie took the knife.
Yeah. In the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
You had to keep
back
saying
gate?
stuff like that.
you go through the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
gate,
And he does a
Yes.
nervous laugh.
Hypothetically,
and it was open or broken or
You hear his nervous laugh.
I don't recall.
yeah.
okay.
I go
Fake
to the
laugh.
front and
Even
I'm
like
looking to see
his
what's
little
going on.
smiles, everything is just like me and you
and
both
I
know
can
what the hell's
see
really going
that,
on. Like,
But
Yeah.
I
say
like
things
Nicole
that you could
had
tell.
I
He's-
had
Right.
candles up all the time. She really did to keep her overhead down, I think. And music was on, and while I was there, a guy shows up. You know,
So Ron Goldman comes in the back gate.
yeah, a guy that I really didn't recognize. I may have seen him around, but I really didn't recognize him to be anyone. And in the mood I was in, I started having words with him.
He says to you, "I just came by to return a pair of glasses. Judy left them at the restaurant."
Yeah, words to that effect. Yes.
And
And
He was
I
on-
don't know if I believed it or didn't believe it.
Hold on.
It was
Hey,
pretty
Dan, I'm
much
gonna try something. Let me
immaterial
see.
because
all right,
Okay.
took it off. And then
Yeah, we get the idea. You don't need to go through the whole
you know,
thing. 'Cause
It's 6
I was
minutes.
more concerned
Okay,
about
well, I'm able to
everything
kind of pause it this
everything
way.
that
I
was
could
going on.
do it like that, but
You know,
no, there's
and,
a part that
was, fed
no,
up
actually
with it,
at the
I
very
guess.
end,
And,
man,
you
you
get into
you
a
could
fight.
tell that he's
Nicole
sincere.
comes
So,
out.
a verbal
A verbal
so if you
fight.
don't mind, I just kind of
got
want
a
to go
little
a
loud.
little
Yeah.
And by that time, Nicole had come out, and we started having words about who is this guy, why is he here, what's going on.
And she says, "This is my house. Get the F out of
Yeah.
here."
Yes, and which I didn't like because once again, this is the same person, and if you read the book, you'll see some things that happened in the 2 weeks leading up to this that were very, very irritating. You know, and I think Charlie had followed this guy in, wanted to make sure there was no problem,
What,
and he brought the knife.
real quick, what do you think about that Charlie character? You think he's
he might have had a
Help?
private investigator or a person who he hired just to watch Ron Goldman while he wasn't doing it. Or it could be just a fictitious person he's adding to the story.
Yeah,
I don't think it. I don't know.
so what actually got me into finding this video because I'd never seen it. I mean, I remember seeing it like I think when it aired, I remember hearing about it, but I never watched it. I never really cared. But I told you what got me into was some movie that they made, and the whole movie's based on a theory, I guess. And I remember that. I remember there was a serial killer. Remember they were talking about a serial killer that was he was killing some women around in shit. What the hell's the name of the city that he lives in?
That's Jesus, I'm tip my tongue.
Yeah, no, I
It
can't
starts
think of
with
it.
a B.
I want
I
to say
can't remember either. Brentwood.
Brentwood, yeah. So yeah, there was somebody killing like girls in that area around that time. So the movie I guess has a theory, and they did an interview. I guess there was like some serial killer's brother claims that he thinks that his brother for sure killed Nicole and Ron
Ron.
Goldman. And so the movie is basically trying to say that she met the serial killer Nicole, and she like had an affair with him real quick, but then he ends up being crazy. But this guy, at the end of the movie, he runs into OJ, and his name in the movie was Charlie. So they're trying to say that this was Charlie, that this was the guy that he's talking about in this book. But I don't know if he would really bring up that guy's name. But yeah, but that and like they did an interview with that guy's brother, and he thinks that he was the one that killed Nicole and Ron. But yeah,
Honestly, what I think is Charlie's a fictitious person. He
yeah, I
might have
think
had someone watching him, but there was no one else there with him that night. Him saying there was somebody else with him that night is a lie.
yeah,
Because you have evidence. So in the blood, there's mass amounts of blood, and in that blood, you have footprints, size 12 from Bruno Mali
oh yeah,
shoes,
yeah,
which OJ Simpson owned. He's a size 12, but they couldn't find the shoes because what he did was he went home and he took a shower and he bagged up all the stuff in like a backpack, and then he had the backpack out on the driveway and his other luggage. And the backpack was kind of offset from his luggage. And Cato Kalin and the limo driver were out there helping him load up the stuff. And Cato Kalin went to get the bag, and OJ said, no, touch that one. I'll get that one. And Cato was like, okay.
oh really?
And so he didn't touch it. But that was where all the clothing was, the shoes, the knife, etc. And so he was able to keep anybody from seeing that, and then took that in the limo, took it to the airport, and then he was dumping stuff in the trash can at the airport. They have witnesses to that, and that's basically what happened. And that goes, I think it's it's at least 2 or 3 different landfills, and there was no way to find this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's no other footprints in that blood other than, OJ Simpson size 12 Bruno Malli's. I mean, those are very specific shoes, expensive Italian or whatever.
Yeah.
So, serial killers don't generally wear those shoes, and he just happens to be size 12 and they're size 12. I mean, hello.
No, well, he's saying he was there. So if it was two people that did it, who knows? But yeah, he probably did just create that character to make the story sound kind of ridiculous, I guess.
Right, right. He's trying, it's a
But
distraction, it's a diversion.
yeah, I started watching some documentaries. Those shoes, he claimed he didn't like them, so he would never own them. But then they ended up finding pictures of him wearing them. Is that you ever see
Same
that?
with the gloves that he was wearing that they found. You
Mm-hmm.
have him on the NFL broadcast wearing those same gloves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the
Oh,
same
shit.
gloves.
This guy's
So,
sloppy.
gloves that didn't fit, he was wearing on national TV.
Fuck. That was a
And they
different
find
time.
one glove seen, and they find one glove behind Cato Kalin's residence that's connected to the house, but it's he had like I think 3 different guest residents. Cato Kalin was staying in one, his daughter was staying in one, and the other one was vacant. And so when he came back, he was running through the back. I think he was thinking, I'm going to ditch the evidence behind the house, because if you run all the way along the back and then it goes to like a wooded area or a bushy area, and I think he was going to dump the shit back there. But when he was running back there, it was dark, and there's an air conditioner unit that pops out right behind Cato Kalin's residence that they use to cool it off, and he ran into that. And
Mm-hmm.
Cato Kalin said he was on the phone with somebody, and he said, "Was there just an earthquake?" He goes, "Because my
Mm-hmm.
picture on my wall just moved," and that's exactly where they found the gloves. So he was going back there to ditch the stuff, but then he did that. Then he said, "Screw that! I just made a noise." Cato, he probably realized alerted Cato. So he went back and went in the house, took a shower, took all the stuff in with him, and then put it in a bag, and then put it on the driveway, and then wouldn't let anybody touch that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well,
So they
yeah, I
find
mean,
one glove at the house and one glove at the scene. Same gloves. One's at the scene, one's in the back of OJ's house, where Cato Kalin thought there was an earthquake because, you know, something just hit his house. His thing moved, his picture on the wall moves, so he didn't know what that was.
so the prosecution, the DA, they presented all this, right? Like, so it's like a complete plausible story of how he did it, and
I mean,
still,
like I'll give you Detective, not Van Adder. Is it Van Adder? Well, the lead detective on the case, I don't remember if it was Van Adder or another guy, but anyway, he said we had more evidence in this case than you ever have in a murder case. This is an open and shut case. This isn't
oh
even.
shit,
This is a gold mine for a conviction.
yeah,
So the only reason he got off was because it was a black jury and he's black, and the black people were pissed off at the LAPD at the time.
yeah,
Now, I don't really care what color somebody is, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that's what happened, right? If he was white, he's going to prison. If he was Mexican, he's going to prison.
yeah.
But it's because they wanted some street justice that they didn't feel they were getting from the government, and so they wanted to stick it to the government.
Well, from all those police getting acquitted, so they probably thought, well, if they got acquitted, we're gonna quit this guy.
Well, they got acquitted, but then they got convicted on federal charges.
Oh, did they? Oh, well.
Yeah. The federal government
Well,
tried,
for
and then they
sure,
worked.
if this trial happened,
And they deserve to be convicted because that Rodney King video, what the fuck, they went way overboard.
yeah, I'm saying like, if this happened now, there's no way this guy would be acquitted with this much. It was just different.
Right.
Time.
It was he got stupid lucky
Yeah, yeah,
that that it happened at a time where, you know, the sentiment was right for him to get a sympathetic jury.
yeah, for sure. All right, let's see.
As things got heated, I just remember Nicole fell and hurt herself. And this guy kind of got into a karate thing. And I said, well, you think you can kick my ass? And I remember I grabbed a knife. I do remember that portion, taking a knife from Charlie.
Hypothetically.
And to be honest,
Yeah.
after that, I don't remember. Except I'm standing there and there's all kind of stuff around and
What kind of stuff?
blood and stuff around. You know, I hate to say this, but this is hypothetical.
Right.
I know we got to back up again.
Right. It's okay. I want to back up.
Hard. This
Well,
is
that
hard.
crazy
I
look
I
on
want to
his
back
eye right
up
there.
to try
to.
to make people think that I'm
I know.
You are a
You
murderer.
wrote in the book, I had never seen so much blood in my life.
What do you think that interviewer is thinking? Like,
Oh,
she
she's
think,
100% like, this guy's crazy.
yeah,
He
no
did it.
shit.
He's crazy.
He's
Anybody
trying
who's
to,
watching this, even the people who acquitted him, know he did it.
yeah. But he's over here trying to laugh, like trying to play the part, like, oh yeah, this is hypothetical. It's just just messing around. And she's like dead serious. She's like tripping the hell out. I'm witnessing this guy admit to this whole fucking murder, and he thinks I'm
At points, you
stupid.
can see. At points, he forgets that it's hypothetical, and he
Yeah,
starts just telling you exactly what happens. You can notice that he just
yeah.
starts going into exactly what happened, and then he catches himself and goes, "Oh yeah, I got to remember it's hypothetical." Like this
Yeah.
forced bullcrap, nervous laugh. But
The very end, what he says at the end, he does, I think, exactly that. He forgets, and you can see that. You can see it in his eyes that he's for in some sense, a little bit traumatized by what he saw, by what he did. But,
Covered. You're covered. The scene. Can you describe it?
it's hard for me to describe it. I'm telling you, I don't think any two
That looks
people
real.
could be murdered the way they were without everybody being covered in blood. And of course, I think we've
That
all
sounds
seen
real.
the grisly pictures after. So yeah, I think everything would have been covered in blood.
Would have been. It's ugly.
And what goes through your mind at a time like that?
I don't know. It's like, what happened?
Right.
This last part.
You write about removing a glove before taking the
okay.
knife from Charlie.
You know, I had no conscious memory of doing that, but obviously I must have because they found the glove there.
And blacking out. Have you ever blacked out before?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
No,
And you,
of course, if something like this would take place in anybody's life, if it were to happen, I would imagine it's something that you would probably automatically have trouble wrapping your mind around it. It was horrible. It was absolutely
That
horrible.
right there.
Yeah,
The way he says that right there, it was horrible. It was
right.
absolutely horrible. Like, I mean, if you
Because
wrote a
he
book
was
just
there.
kind of making shit up, you don't describe it that way. You don't even say it that way.
You don't feel it like that.
Yeah, yeah. So,
No, he did it, and he's just it's insane. But in that interview too, he's proud of it. Like
yeah. I mean,
he's basically bragging about what he did.
yeah, no shit.
And so what happened, it's true. Ron Goldman showed up because Nicole and her mother and family were at the restaurant, something Luna that Ron Goldman worked at, and they knew each other. I don't know if they had ever dated, but they did know each other. And OJ had been stalking her, spying on her, and that's well documented. He's very jealous. And so that night, Nicole calls the restaurant after they left and says, "Hey, my mother left her glasses there." They're like, "Oh yeah, we have them." And she's like, "Oh, well, can you have Ron bring them by?" Because Ron Goldman, she knew him, and so that's the only reason the guy's there. He was going out with a buddy that night. He had
Yeah,
plans to go
I
out
didn't
with
even
a
know
buddy
that.
that night to a club. Yeah, he had a plan to go out to a club, and he did. And he did take martial arts,
Hmm.
right? So that he's telling the truth. But so when he shows up, OJ and her are already in an argument or something's going on, and he shows up and he thinks that he's there for her for like a romantic thing.
Hmm.
And he says, "Look, I'm just here to return these glasses." And he doesn't believe him. And he's already super jealous, irate, stalker, all this stuff. And then he just goes off, hits her. He tries to defend her, gets in a karate stance, and OJ exactly what he said. What, you think you can kick my ass? And the OJ has the knife. And before this happened, recently before this happened, OJ was working on a film with Navy SEALs and was trained in how to use knives by Navy SEALs.
Oh yeah.
So, and the glove comes off. He didn't take it off. It came off in the struggle, probably from Ron Goldman, because I think Nicole, he hit her in the head. I think she went down right away. Then he turned his attention to Ron, and they get in a struggle, and he fucked him up, man. He did some gnarly wounds to him, like multiple fatal wounds with that knife. And even in a recreation, they say that I don't know how they determine this, but they say that he had Ron from behind, had his hand over his mouth, and held him up after he'd already stabbed him, and was telling him stuff, talking to him, like, something along the lines, "What, you think you can get my woman?" Whatever, something like that. And then he offs him. He goes down. He goes over to Nicole, who had already been hit in the head and is either dazed or unconscious, picks her up the same way, holds his hand over her mouth, and starts talking to her before he slits her throat.
Jesus.
Because there's little cuts on the throat that weren't, the knife is just there and it's kind of just cutting the little. But then
Hmm.
the one, he almost severs her whole head
Yeah.
off, cuts her all the way to the spinal cord and actually into the spinal cord.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster. I mean, his mentality was, "I'm OJ Simpson. I get what I want. Nobody, if I can't have her, nobody can," kind of thing. And a lot of people go through that, but his is on like a steroid level because of his fame and everyone loved him. And how can anybody turn their back on me? This ain't happening, kind of thing. And this guy just happened to show up at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know if he even would have killed her. He probably would have, but maybe not. I don't know if he went there to do that, but that combination of him showing up in the middle of this argument, because she was seeing a lot of other people, right? And he
Yeah.
had actually witnessed her giving a guy a blowjob through the window when he was spying on her, and he talks about that. He admits that.
Yeah.
But then they say, "Oh, you were stalking her," and he goes, "Oh no, I wasn't stalking her. Well, I'm just outside her townhouse watching her have sex with somebody, but I'm not stalking her." Right? Like he's divorced from reality, really.
You said he said that on the witness stand?
No, he said
Oh,
that he said
did
that somewhere else in a
oh
police interview, I believe.
okay. Did he testify? I don't remember.
I don't think he took the stand.
No.
No, he
Okay.
didn't.
Shit, bro. Well,
But
yeah.
that day, so that day, we went over this a little bit more, but just to give the whole story. So he's stalking her. This is well documented. Seen her having sex. They only live 2 or 3 miles apart in Brentwood.
Mm-hmm.
Now, her keys, her spare set of keys had gone missing because he would come over, so he had access to her house and whatever. And I believe he took her spare key. Then the day of the murder, they went to a recital for their daughter, and when he got there, Nicole shunned him, and she was done with him. She didn't want anything. This is well documented too. They had tried to reconcile a couple times and it didn't work, and so she was at her breaking point where she broke and said no more. And so she wouldn't even sit with him, and he was
Yeah.
very pissed off about that. So he leaves the recital and says he went to get flowers for his daughter, and he did come back with flowers. But I think what he did also was he went to her house while he was gone, and she was going to move to Malibu, which was a lot further away, and he wouldn't have that direct stalking access to her.
Yeah.
That's only right in his neighborhood. So she shut him off in person at the recital. Then he sees that she's moving away from him, so he's going to lose her completely,
Yeah.
have no access to her. And in his mind, I'm OJ Simpson, right? This is how he's thinking, and she's mine. And so at that point, I think he had planned probably to kill her, maybe not, but he was going to do something about that situation. So he came back with flowers, but I think he had seen the paperwork. She was buying a house in Malibu,
Yeah.
and that really set it in motion. Then when they went back, he went back home, and he went to Cato Kalin's apartment there, because he lives with him. Knocked on his door and asked Cato, "Hey, do you have change for 100? I'm going to go get something to eat." And
Mm-hmm.
Cato said, or no, yeah, Cato said, "I don't have change for 100, but he just gave him $40."
Mm-hmm.
And and then Cato's like, "Man, I'm hungry too. Can I go?" And according to Cato, he seemed kind of like he didn't really want him to go, but he said, "Yeah, all right." So then they go to get something to eat, and they drive past the McDonald's to go to another McDonald's that's further away. But they go by her house on that route. If they go to the closer one, they don't go by her house, but they went by her house on that route. And Cato said that he wasn't very chatty, he didn't talk much, and Cato Kalen's like, "Hey, I wasn't trying to push it. We just went, got some burgers, ate them, or he ate his in the car. We came back, and when we got back, Cato said he got out of the car and he was walking to the main house where OJ lived and got to the door and looked back, and OJ was still at the car, outside of the car, looking at him like, what are you doing?" And Cato was like, he didn't say anything, but Cato was like, I got the message that he didn't want me in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just walked over to my place, went in and ate. And that's the last he had seen of OJ that day until after the murders when he came back. So then after that, basically somewhere along the line, OJ takes off, goes over to her house, gets in an argument with her. Maybe he's there to kill her. I don't know. Maybe she's already down when Ron shows up and he gets in karate stance. But I think that they were arguing. Ron shows up. That really triggers him. All the things that happened that day and leading up to it, that was it.
Yeah.
So he does what he does, murders them, and in the struggle, he loses a glove. He leaves footprints in the blood. He takes off in his Bronco, goes back to his house. Now you got a limo driver. He has two gates. You got a limo driver outside the main gate who had been calling into the house trying to get OJ because he's supposed to be going to the airport, take him to the airport, and OJ's late. So the limo driver calls the limo company and says, "What should I do?" And they said, "Wait 15 minutes or 30 more minutes, something like that." So the limo driver does. And OJ's Bronco is not parked on the street. The limo driver he got in his limo and drove to the other gate, drove back, and there's no car parked there. So then OJ shows up and he goes to the other side of the gate, parks on the street, goes through the gate or jumps the gate, but it's dark, so the limo driver doesn't see that happen. And then OJ runs along the back of the house, runs in to hide evidence in the very back, runs into the air conditioning unit, alerts Cato something's up, but Cato doesn't know what it was. He's like, "Well, is it an earthquake? I don't know. My picture moved. There's a little shaking." And then OJ says, shit, I go back the other way. But he dropped the other glove there. So he dropped one at the scene. He dropped one there. Goes back in the house. The limo driver at this point does see someone go into the house that meets his description. Can't identify him exactly, but it's a black man, same height, same build. Comes in through the other gate or around the house and goes into the front door. The limo driver is like looking for him now because like, hey, he's way late. And goes in, and the limo driver keeps trying to call, and eventually OJ answers and says that he's late. He was in the shower. That's why he didn't hear the call, which is true. He was in the shower, but that's not why he didn't. He wasn't there when he first called.
Yeah.
So then he comes out, brings all his bags out, the backpack out, puts the backpack on a little further away. And Cato comes out. The limo driver's out there. They're helping him load it up. Don't touch that bag. I'll get that one. And gets in the limo, goes to the airport. People see him at the airport putting stuff in the trash can. Gets on the plane, goes to Chicago. In Chicago, eventually the police call him, and he ends up coming back, and he's got cuts on his fingers. He says he broke a glass there. He just dropped it and it broke. So the police actually went to that hotel, used the same sort of glass and dropped it. And these were very sturdy glasses, and they didn't break. So that's basically what happened.
Wow. So I don't know. They found both gloves. So both gloves were at the
Yeah,
scene.
one was at the scene and one was at his house.
Oh shit.
It was right behind Cato Caleb. It was right at the air
Yeah,
conditioner
I've always known about
behind
that
Cato
one.
Caleb's
But
room.
I didn't know they found both of them. That one of them was at
Yeah,
the
the other
scene
one
of
was
the
at the
crime.
scene, and they say that they thought he looked for it, but it was a very dark area, so he couldn't find it. He was feeling around after everyone was dead, but then some dogs started barking, or he heard something, so he was like, I got to get out of here. So he
Why
left
would
it.
he? Why do you think he would take off his gloves though? Like, why
He
not just?
didn't. I think in the struggle, Ron Goldman probably pulled one off when he's trying to keep him from stabbing him.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
He's just struggling, and the glove came off in the struggle, and that one fell to the ground, and it's super dark, so he couldn't find it in the dark. Then at the house, he's running to the back with the knife and the glove, and he's like, I'm going to ditch these things in the very bushes in the very back. But he hits the air conditioning unit and drops that glove. Once again, super dark, can't find it. So he turns around, goes back in the house. He still has the knife, and he still has the clothes he's wearing that have blood on them, and takes all those off, puts all that stuff in a bag, gets in the shower, cleans up, puts on new clothes, comes out, puts the bag in the limo, no one can touch it, dumps it in the trash at the airport. But he left but the two gloves he wasn't able to retrieve. But
Wow.
there's blood spatter in his walkway and entranceway in his house. It's a combination of Nicole, Ron's, and OJ's blood, also in the Bronco. And then after everything happens, they're going to arrest him. He's supposed to turn himself in because the LAPD's stupid. They don't just go arrest him. And then he gets in that Bronco chase.
Yeah.
The guy has, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000 cash, a mask, a disguise, or not a mask, but a disguise kit.
Yeah.
And he's planning to take off, but the LAPD find him and they start chasing him. And he's talking about how he has a gun, he's gonna kill himself. Like, why would you do all that,
No
right?
shit.
I mean, it's so preposterous that for anybody, everybody knows he did it. If anybody thinks he didn't do it, then you're just lying to yourself. And I think you know that.
I remember seeing that
It's an
live.
open and shut case.
I remember being home and I saw that live. What was happening?
Yeah, I remember that too. I was at work.
Fuck. Well, damn, bro. I mean, yeah. It's. I
Told you
guess
I
I
did a
just.
deep dive.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. That's definitely all the
I was very
information.
curious on what he did and how he did it and why he did it.
I guess I
So
just. Yeah, I was never sure. I mean, I always figured he did it. You know what I mean? He got acquitted. That was the biggest deal. You know what I mean? That there was so much evidence, but he still gets acquitted. And I thought that kind of what everybody thought it was kind of
I
racial
don't.
justice. Black justice, trying to get him off, and
It's
that.
funny. He was acquitted because of the color of his skin and the culture at that time, what was going on. But if she wasn't, I think if she wasn't moving to Malibu and he didn't find out by stalking, I don't think it happens.
No.
But that was, he's not letting her go. He owns her. OJ Simpson was this kind of guy who was very charismatic. Everyone loved him, and he couldn't handle anybody rejected him. And especially her, the mother of his children, his ex-wife, like, it ain't happening. And then she's going to actually leave, and he's not going to have this access to her anymore. He was super obsessed. And I think if he didn't find that paperwork to the Malibu residence that she was going to move to,
Yeah.
I don't think this would have happened. I think he would have still tried to play the game and get control of her, you know, while she's still right there. But once she's gone, she's gone. And I think that was the breaking point. He probably did go over there to kill her, and then Ron Goldman showed up, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get this guy too." He'd probably been doing my wife, right?
Shit. Yeah, that's what I was. I
So,
was pictured that they were probably just hooking up. I didn't know that he just walked up and he was just dropping off glasses
and
just to rock.
they may have hooked up. Who knows? I don't know for sure. There isn't any clear evidence on that. I know that, she would let him drive her car sometimes. Like, she had her, like, I don't know what she had, like a Porsche or something, really nice car. And sometimes she would let Ron Goldman drive it. So there probably was something between them, off and on, or on or off, or who
Yeah.
knows the situation at the time. But he wasn't coming over for that night. He was coming over just to drop off the sunglasses that her mother left there. And he had plans, and everyone that worked with him and his friends knew that he was going out with his buddy to some other place, some other club that night. So he just did it. Because after he left the restaurant, he went home first, went to his apartment, got cleaned up, changed, dressed for his night out, then went over to Nicole's house to drop the sunglasses off. Then he was on his way with his buddy, and they were going to go out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it sucks, man. I mean, they died. They died horribly, and this
I
guy
mean, I'll give
for sure
at
got
least
away with
Ron
it.
Goldman, man. He died with honor. He's defending a woman, so you got to respect that.
Yeah, that fool stabbed him 33 times. It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
he fucking went off, dude.
Yeah, that sucks, man. All right. Well, another deep dive that you did. I don't know if you're cool with the going over real quick the JFK Secret Service stand down video.
Oh
This is
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of something I saw. Kind of. I don't know. This is kind of puzzling. Just to go through
Well,
it.
I like putting it on there because we showed the still picture of it.
Everything seemed
It-
normal as the
yeah.
president's Secret Service
Yeah, we should have
bodyguards
played the
kept their
video.
ever watchful eyes on the
You ever seen
crowd.
this video? Somebody narrated it?
Yeah,
Hold on, real quick.
Everything seemed normal as the president's motorcade began.
What is it from? I told you, man. I downloaded this like in 2007 or 2008. I don't even know where I got it from, and it's just this clip. So I must have been on YouTube, but it's from a bigger documentary. Do you know where it's from? Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't know what website or social media or platform it came from, but I know what it is.
Well,
It's
it
it's
sounds like it's
the
from a
Secret
bigger
Service at
documentary.
Love Field.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying the narration and all that. Like it sounds like it's from a bigger documentary about this whole thing. But I don't know what documentary it could
I'll
be.
tell you what though, when I that because I did, like I said, I've been doing the JFK thing most of my life. Been looking at it, and I've thought every theory was right. I've heard them all, and I kind of agreed with them all at one point or another. Thought, yeah, that's possible. And I didn't know until I saw that video. When I saw that video, it was like, boom, the lights,
Yeah,
all the clutter was removed.
yeah,
You got the Secret Service being pulled off of his security detail right before he's shot. It doesn't
yeah,
get any clearer than that.
yeah. I think I felt the same way. I was like, where the hell has this video been? Like I've seen so many There's been so many documentaries, movies about it, but nobody's ever really talked about this. And
And I think the reason is because the Zapruder film, the headshot and the actual murder, after it happened, the government held on to that for 12 years. So they didn't release that till 1975. And I think that maybe people were starting to get on to this. And as a distraction, they're like, put the Zapruder film out.
no,
And then everyone
maybe.
just, like moths to a flame, went to the Zapruder film and tried to figure it out with that one because it's the actual event, and this is where we're going to find the evidence, and etc. And they got so focused, and they got their blinders on just for that.
Uh,
And so I think it might have been a ploy by the government to, you know, um, get people to look at that instead of the airport, because the airport is really the smoking gun. You got
I,
Secret
I'm not
Service
sure.
pulled off, and they were never pulled off his limo before.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you had mentioned that they interviewed that secret. He's been interviewed before. That Secret Service agent, or
Well,
both of them, or
I
one of
didn't
them.
see an interview with him, but I did see an excerpt of what he said. And what he said, at least, and I'm not positive this is true because I didn't see it come out of, or hear it come out of his mouth. But what I what I had read was that the Secret Service told him, "Hey, we don't need you." He turns around in confusion, throws his arms up. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they tell him, "We don't need you. Go have lunch." And that's what he said they told him.
Okay. Well.
Now, a Secret Service agent that actually did go on the ride with Clint Black and another Secret Service agent there that day said that he knew he wasn't going. He was just there for a photo op.
Mm,
So that's what they're saying. But that's bullshit because why would he need a photo op? You got him in Tampa Bay 4 days before that on the back of the limo with cameras all over him. He's had photo op after photo op. He's always on the back of the limo.
yeah.
Why would he need a photo op on the back of the limo in Dallas? Fly him in from Washington D.C. to Dallas to have a photo op on the back of the limo when you got thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of photos of him on the back of the limo already.
Yeah.
And why would you take him off anyway, right? Like it makes no sense. Like why would he just need a photo op? I mean, is he there? Is he there for a photo op, or is he there to protect the president? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I remember. Yeah, I remember you saying that was his quote that they told him, "Oh, go have lunch, get off." And
I mean, and it doesn't get any stupider than that.
the only thing that kind of gave me the vibe that he was trying to, claim innocent. But in this video, something looks fishy about when there's no. If you watch it, you don't get the. There's not enough time for the person that tells the lead Secret Service guy, whatever, to say all those things to him. He just kind of points. I can't hear him
Right.
say,
I and
"Oh,
I think
go have lunch." I don't think he yells that because that guy turns
And I
around.
think the reason I don't think them saying go have lunch is actually what happened. I
Hmm.
think that Secret Service agent, he wasn't in on it, obviously. And I think they just killed the president and they told him to stand down. And he was the one that was in the way of the shot and the closest to protect the president. And he was taken out. And he was like, shit, if they do that to him, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, they told me to go have lunch. I don't know. That's it. Like, I'm not telling you anything because if I do, I'm dead.
Well, I don't know. I just to me it seems more like he might be in on it. Watch. Let's just play it just to see what you. Basically, I'll kind of tell you ahead of time. So that guy tells him, "All right, get off the limo," or he says whatever. Man, I don't think he tells him, "Oh, go have lunch." That makes no
He
sense.
clearly tells him to stand down.
Yeah, he points at him and he says something, but it's super quick. And then
Yeah.
as soon as the Secret Service agent stands down, he immediately puts his shoulders up. Like it's not like kind of like in shock. It's immediate, almost like he was expecting it. To me, that's how it looks, because he's right away shrugging his shoulders and then shrugging his shoulders and I think I told you he looks like he's kind of being defiant to the order. Like what the hell? Like instead of just following the order and just being confused, thinking that they might have a plan or something like that. He shrugs his shoulders way too quick. Like I don't know. It just to me it just looks almost like it's he's kind of giving the impression that he's surprised by the order, but
He is
I,
surprised by it because
well,
he didn't know it was coming.
yeah, I don't know. It just looks. Well, look at it real quick.
I mean,
See if you see
really,
what I see.
whether he knew or not, whether he was in on it or not, isn't even relevant because the Secret Service is the ones that did it, that removed security. So whether he's part of it or not doesn't much matter because it's the main guy who the chief of the Secret Service that's culpable here. He gave the order. So if this guy knows or doesn't know, you know, it doesn't much matter because really what we need to focus on is who actually gave these orders. So the Secret Service head did it, which also means that the head of the CIA, head of the FBI, and the head of the DOJ and the vice president all had to know. Otherwise, they would have figured this out in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I
But,
don't know. I guess it's just
it's kind of like saying who was the shooter. Okay, it's interesting, but we don't really need to know because it's who gave the order because it could be different. They could have found somebody different. It doesn't much matter. What matters is who made the decision.
well, I guess it's just kind of what's interesting
It's
too is
interesting.
just seeing the people that might know the truth. You know what I mean? Seeing who the hell they are, and these guys might have known what was coming. Well, let's
I mean,
play.
it's
Just see.
possible, but the body language I see, he looks confused.
No, yeah, he's giving that impression by shrugging his shoulders 3 times. They say it in the narration. He does it 3 times, but I don't know. Let's just play to see what you think. Kind of.
All right.
Can you see it pretty good right there?
Everything
Yeah.
that is up until this instant. What took place is so odd that we're going to examine the scene 4 more times.
Oh, shit, I missed it. Trying to put the volume up.
Watch the left side of your screen. The arrow points to Agent in Charge, Emery Roberts, as he stands in the Secret Service follow-up car and motions with his hand. What he is doing is calling away the president's 2 most important bodyguards. The bodyguards whose job is to protect the president's back.
Look how fast.
On the bumper of the limousine throughout the motorcade.
I don't know, it's almost like he turns around and he's already shrugging. Like, to me, that's kind of how it looks. Like,
I mean, to me, it looks like he's turning around going, seriously?
No,
you're going to tell me to not
go
right
that,
now?
It just looks...
I mean, he could be faking it.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I mean...
He looks disappointed and confused.
No, he's doing that because I think he knows there's cameras right there. Obviously, there's crowd. They just left the crowd, so there's cameras everywhere. So
one of 2 agents
he has to give impression that he's confused by the order. So he does that, but it just seems like he does.
So
you're
saying you think he's faking confusion?
Yeah, like he's sort of like he already knew that they were going to do that, but he has to kind of play the part like he doesn't know what's happening.
But okay,
because of this, put it like this: if he had been on there, he ran the risk of being shot in the back of the head. So they're protecting him. They already knew that was the plan. They're protecting him, and they might have given him a heads up. Hey, look, we're gonna do this. Just get off and don't question shit. We're just saving your life.
Right, but let me ask you this then: if that were true, why put him on there at all?
Because that's part of the
back bumper is specially designed with
the protocol and whatever.
I mean, it makes them look more guilty that he's on there and they pull him off than if he's not on there at all. If he's not on there at all, they don't have to explain why they pulled him off. Because Kennedy had said multiple times, "I don't want them on there."
You are about to see segments from 3 of at least 4 films shot in Dealey Plaza.
I don't think he knew. My impression of that is I think he's genuinely confused and genuinely disappointed that they're going to make the president vulnerable.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it does. I mean, it could be the one.
But like I said, it doesn't much matter because neither of those guys are the top of the chain that made the call. Nobody there is, and LBJ's there and he is, but it's not. The Secret Service guy who calls him off isn't the top of the chain, and neither is the agents that get pulled off. So they're not the ones that made the decision to kill Kennedy. The ones who made the decision to kill Kennedy goes to LBJ, the head of the FBI, head of the CIA, head of the DOJ. You have to have those people in place. Otherwise, they'll do the investigation, and this would have been revealed immediately, and it would have been solved very quickly. But they didn't do that. They never even brought this up. This wasn't brought up in the Warren Commission. This wasn't brought up in the investigation. It wasn't even talked about.
Yeah.
So that means that the top of the government suppressed it and controlled it so that it didn't get brought up.
Yeah, they probably didn't even think anybody would ever see this. So.
Yeah, I don't think they were too worried about cameras and what was going on at the airport. I don't think they gave that much thought. I think they thought, you know what? So the reason they did it like that is so that it wouldn't draw any attention earlier on. Like if they had said, hey, we're not going to have you on the limo a day or a week before, other people might have been going, wait a minute, why are we changing this? And they would have had time to think about it and maybe do something about it. Bring it to the press, something like that. But if you do it at the last minute, no one has time to react or do anything about it.
No.
And then they're not too worried about the cameras being there because, like I said, JFK made that possible by saying, look, I don't want these guys on the back of the limo. If someone wants to kill the president, they can kill him, but they're going to sacrifice their own life, and they can't stop that. So why are they even there? But they were always there, except in the Texas trip. So the Secret Service never listened to him and did what they were supposed to do, and had those guys there to protect him. But they, it made it perfect for them to say, you know what, JFK doesn't want him on the back. We want to shoot him. Well, let's take him off, and if anybody says anything, we'll say, well, JFK didn't want him.
Yeah.
And you can go back and look. He says that. So the JFK's own words kind of screwed him on that one.
Yeah.
Because that guy's in the way of the shot. If you're shooting from the school book depository, that guy is directly in the way of the shot. And the first shot that hits him, in the back, that guy's going to jump on him right there. There is no headshot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
even if he shot, he got the first shot and it missed the Secret Service agent, he could have just jumped and told the driver, go, 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 and they would have just got the hell out of there. But
right, if that guy's on the back,
yeah.
If that guy's on the back, if those guys are on the back, the assassination probably isn't successful.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, but if they're not on there,
you kind of see he's tall enough to where, at the angle that I remember, I mean, it hit JFK in the neck, in the back, in the throat.
Right.
And yeah, that guy would have been standing right there. He would have been right in the way of that shot. So.
And like I said, the Secret Service, the Secret Service agents that were there on video said he was there for a photo op. We put up a picture of Tampa Bay 4 days before this. That guy's on the back of the limo.
Yeah.
The same guy. So why would he need a photo op on the back of the limo when he's on the back of the limo all the time?
Yeah, no shit.
So he's lying about that. We don't need you. Go have lunch. We know that's a lie. What really is, hey, we don't need you. We're going to tell you that at the last minute as the limo's moving.
Yeah.
Because then no one has time to make any reaction to that. They changed the entire security plan for that day, where they pulled the limo, the people on the back of the limo, Secret Service agents off. They made the motorcycles fall back, so they were cleared from the shot. They weren't allowed to approach the back of the limo when they're normally riding alongside of it. In every other motorcade, that's how it was. The buildings had snipers on top. Buildings were searched. Windows were taped shut. That's how they did it in every other city. They didn't do that in Dallas. None of those things happened in Dallas. They changed their mode of operation completely in Dallas, which made it very vulnerable for the president. So, the Secret Service, did that. And who can order that from the Secret Service? Not the Russians, not the Cubans, not the mafia. So they're out. They didn't make the call. It had to be the United States government that made the call to tell the Secret Service to change their entire security protocol on the day that he gets murdered. Is a smoking gun that the United States government did it. It's a covert overthrow of the president of the United States is what it was. And that's, like I said, that's why we're in the situation we are right now with Trump, is because Trump is like JFK. I'm not going to do deep state beckoning. I'm going to do what's best for the American people. And the deep state says, no, you're not.
No.
We'll tie you up in so many legal knots. We can't kill you, but we're gonna do everything else. We're gonna call you a racist, bigot, tie you up in legal knots, and just go after you hard. We'll raid your house and everything.
No.
All that. It's the same sort of scenario. It's just that they can't kill him, because today, with all the cameras and technology, they would get caught.
Yeah.
So they try to assassinate character today and not physical assassination.
Some news story just came out past couple days. I don't know if you saw, about Hunter Biden, that he's he's basically a CIA asset. That's why he's being protected so much. That Ukraine might have a lot more to do with everything than we know about. That supposedly they have 14 not safe houses, like little bases or whatever, that the CIA has 14 operation houses and operation facilities in Ukraine.
Well, the government's deeply involved in Ukraine, and I know this about Ukraine. So Hunter Biden gets a job at Burisma, an energy company in Ukraine, on a high-paying job, millions of dollars. He gets paid like $5 million and he doesn't know anything about the energy company, never worked in it, doesn't have any education in it. The people who work there, the heads of the Burisma, were calling him an idiot. And this is fact. This is all documented. They were like, this guy's stupid. So I don't think he's a CIA asset. I think he's just a corrupt person who's the son of the vice president at that time. Then Biden on tape withholds foreign aid to Ukraine until they fire the prosecutor who's investigating Burisma for corruption.
Yeah.
There you go. So why are we involved in Ukraine and Russia? Because the Ukrainians have been paying off the Bidens for years.
Yeah.
And if we don't go and protect them, then they're going to reveal all this stuff. It's already been revealed, but there's probably a lot more that they could reveal. And so the Bidens are basically being blackmailed or put themselves in a position of leverage from the Ukrainian government, that if they don't help the Ukrainian financially and militarily on the political stage, then the Ukrainians have a mountain of evidence against the Bidens that would just blow them out of the water. But the problem you have there is, like, a lot of this has been exposed in congressional hearings. I've seen the evidence. This is facts. They've been paid millions by the Ukrainians, but you don't have the FBI or DOJ or Attorney General that's going to prosecute these people, Bidens, for this, because they're all corrupt as well.
Yeah. Well,
so they basically can do whatever they want, and there's no one to enforce the law. The Congress can talk about it, but they don't have the power of the law. All they can do is investigate, and then they hand it over to the law enforcement agencies, and the law enforcement agencies are headed up by people who are also corrupt, and so they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah. No, well, they're saying for sure he's being protected. There was something about the IRS. I don't know. I was listening to a Benny Johnson's podcast last night, and he did like a whole episode on it with the reporter that's breaking stories. Some lady named Julie Kelly, I think her name was. But I don't know. I'll find out more about it. But all right, then we got about based on your schedule, we got about 30 minutes. So let's just see how many of these questions we could get into.
Okay.
Is that cool? All right. So
yeah.
So last week we went into what should the responsibility of the press be? We had some answers on that. How should voting fraud be resolved? We'll give some answers on that. Actually, you had asked me what I thought, if I had any more input. What I'd written down was basically what I ended up with. Yeah, we just need voter ID law, basically. Just that will kind of fix the problem for the most part. I remember I was thinking they should do thinking before that they should do it differently, where it should be open elections. People shouldn't be afraid of who the hell they're voting for. It shouldn't be like that. So it should be more like when you get to a voting poll, you go in through one door. As soon as you go in, then there's a counter on top. The number for that candidate goes up. You walk out. The next person goes in. So people see live, who the hell's voting for who. But it'd be the most secure way of voting. You know what I mean? That the vote's not being rigged. But I mean, I know that'll be kind of a ridiculous idea. But
really, with the voting, I mean, all you need to do is enforce the laws that are already in place. You have to have ID, and you have to go to the polling place where you're registered. Get rid of the mail-in ballots. Do those two things, and you got a fair election. And then also make sure that the people who are counting the votes, there's observers.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're going to have a fair election. But they don't want fair elections, so they don't want any of these things to occur because they can't. The Democrats really can't win American elections for president, without voter fraud. They need voter fraud. It's ironic because they're like, oh, you guys are racist for asking for ID. Really what they're saying is, you know what, we want people to vote multiple times. We want people who aren't alive to vote. We want people who aren't citizens to vote.
Yeah.
We want people to vote in different jurisdictions multiple times. So how dare you actually monitor this stuff and make sure only one American citizen's getting one vote? Because if that happens, we lose.
Oh, shit. Well, we went over that. And then the third one, how do we fix the immigration issue? We both had our ideas on that. And then we went to, does public education need reform? And then now, number 5, Mr. President Dan, what is your plan to improve public health? Do you think there's a public health issue? You think people are unhealthy? Did you know that the number one cause of death is heart disease?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is
Do you know
like
what number three is? The number one three cause of death in the United States is?
it's probably suicide at this point.
It's malpractice.
Oh, malpractice. I was just being facetious, but
Can you believe that? Suicide's probably one on that list, but I forgot what number two was. But yeah, just so I have people that know me. I kind of have a thing about health and digestion. I have a digestion something I think it's kind of overlooked a lot.
you're right.
I don't know if you've looked into kind of the benefits and the negative the side effects of bad digestion.
Yeah. No, I don't know that a lot about that. I know it's important, but I don't. I've never really looked into that.
Oh yeah, well I'll put it. Well, it's just as simple as this. It's 80% of your immune system is in your gut. So
Okay.
and then do you know what the number one over the counter medicine is? It's
No.
digestive medicine. It's the number one over the counter
Okay.
medicine. So basically the country is backed up. The country has bad digestion. But the
Right.
thing is, when you go to doctors, that's not a priority. They don't talk about that. What they do at the doctors, the end result is always a pill. Like they just want you to take medication for whatever you're feeling. You got headaches? Oh, here, take this pill. Oh, you got acid reflux? Oh, here, take this pill. You got, you know what I mean, like whatever it could be. And they never start with the gut. They never start with digestion. You know, so the idea I had was that they need to start focusing on that. They need to start changing how doctors diagnose problems. Like they never, obviously people complain, oh, my stomach, oh, so you might be backed up, but here, take this pill. Like it's not like change your,
Why?
your
Why are you
change your
backed up?
diet.
Right.
Yeah, why are you backed up? Like what's causing it? A lot of people
Right.
don't know, don't even get that concept. They don't get the connection. But the symptoms of bad digestion, they're headaches, like I said, headaches, acid reflux, lower back pain, bad breath, high blood pressure, and all these things affect your heart. Like all those symptoms eventually, could cause heart problems. So, and even if if there is like another underlying heart issue, clearing out your digestive system is the first way to go. Like you feel anything, do that first, and you'll see the benefits right away. Like it alleviates your stomach first of all, so it relieves pressure. Because what I always say is that your stomach, your guts, all that's compacted. There's not like room anywhere. Everything's one thing affects the other, no matter what. So if people are backed up in their gut, all that's moving stuff around your stomach, your everything. It's moving stuff around inside of you. So if you're living like that like for a long time, which I think a lot of people do, based on the statistics of the number one over the counter medication, and like basically people aren't taking care of that part of their body. So I would think that that people need to start focusing more on digestion and starting there, as opposed to just. I just think basically I don't trust doctors. I don't trust the medical system at all. I just don't. And I think it's planned like this. If you do a deep dive into the medical industry, you might find it. I've seen some videos. John Rockefeller was he was one of the first people to start investing in the medical industry, and he was the one started getting them to push medication pills that are being made with oil or some sort of chemicals that he makes money off of. But I think obviously it's also a population issue. You know what I mean? Like people don't take care of themselves and they die. We're doing our best to help them, but they gotta take care of themselves. But if they went straight to the source and told them all, hey, just flush your system, clean out your intestines, basically clean that out. start eating healthy, drink more water, be more hydrated, and more people will live, and people will be more healthy. And that's not what I don't think that's what they want, but I know that's all further conspiracy type of things. But anyway, so I've always thought of that idea that they need to push that more on people, make people more aware of the benefits of healthy digestion. So I don't know.
No, I
I guess,
agree.
yeah. So
That's a good idea.
yeah. So that was my plan. But I don't know if you've ever thought if you got any thoughts on that, on ways
Well,
to improve public health.
I think if a person wants to be healthy, I think, um, well, I mean, the number one thing to me would be exercise, because exercise has a ridiculous amount of benefits. It takes your
Yeah.
HDL and makes it into LDL, which is high density lipids, and a low density lipids, which is bad cholesterol to good cholesterol. So
Yeah.
just by doing cardiovascular exercise, you take bad cholesterol and your body is converted into good cholesterol, and your heart it helps everything.
Yeah.
Um, but you need that, and then you need eating correctly is good. But in order to eat correctly, I think one thing that the government could actually play a part in is working on a plan to lower the price of actual healthy foods, because healthy food is actually more expensive than
Yeah.
junk food,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we're going to actually help people, make it a cost effective for them to buy fruits and vegetables and organics and things like that that are less pesticides in them, less preservatives, or if any, right? And
Yeah.
start eating that way. So if you eat healthier, your diet's good, and then you exercise, you're pretty much on a good path right there. That's going to take care of a lot of your problems.
Yeah.
But going and getting checkups and stuff like that as well are important. But you're right, doctors. I'm not going to say I'm not going to throw all doctors in a bag, but the pharmaceutical companies are making stupid amounts of money, billions, if not trillions of dollars off selling drugs.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you don't need these things if you're exercising and eating relatively healthy. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to, be prescribed medication, because you're not going to have any ailments. But if you're not doing those things, then you might have ailments and you want to go to a doctor. And then the doctor is financially um, rewarded
Yeah. They
for
prescribe.
prescribing
Yeah.
medications
Yeah.
from pharmaceutical companies.
They get paid for that. Yep.
Right. So that it's a money. It really comes down to a money thing. Ultimately, I would say this is you put your health in your own hands. You don't put it in somebody else's hands, because those other people's hands, they're just trying. Most of them are just trying to get money. There are good doctors who won't do this sort of thing, but people are people, and most of the time, money is going to be more important to them than doing the right thing. So if you hand over your health care to a stranger or somebody else, it's not going to be as good as if you just did it yourself.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to, I mean, the hardest part for people is the exercise, because it takes work, it takes energy.
Yeah. Well, I
And,
mean,
but I
I
would
don't know
say most
statistic,
people,
but America's overweight. That's what I do know. Is that's a,
yeah, being overweight's not good. But
yeah.
most people say that diet's more important than exercise. Well, I've been exercising my whole life, basically, my whole adult life, cycling and hitting the gym. And my conclusion, based on my own experience, is that exercise is more important than diet. Now,
Yeah.
you don't want to just dismiss diet. Diet's important, of course, but I would say exercise is more beneficial than diet. And they even did a study on this where they took overweight people and had one group eat the same thing they always ate. They always ate bad because, obviously they're obese. So keep eating whatever you're eating, but exercise regularly. Then they had the other group eat healthy, but don't exercise. And the group who still ate bad but exercised regularly
Yeah.
had way better results than the group that ate right but didn't
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
So exercise is the key.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And I don't know how you can really get a government to make public health better. I mean, you could investigate these pharmaceutical companies
Just
and
education,
get
I'd
them to
say.
quit pushing drugs on people to make themselves rich. I think that would be the most important thing. But you got a problem there. These pharmaceutical companies are a big lobby for the politicians, and the politicians are corrupt. So
No, no shit.
you know,
Well, I mean, just to address the issue. I mean, to me, it would be more of an education. It wouldn't take
Well, for
necessarily
me
reform.
personally, I just took my health into my own hands,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, it's
I
that.
didn't
It's
hand it
basically
off to
putting that message
somebody
out there.
else,
Like, if you
right?
do these steps, like, for yourself, you don't got to rely so much on healthcare. Because
Right.
I've always wondered this: what is the reason that most jobs left? That most companies or corporations started exporting their jobs, their companies, and stuff like that. It's they didn't want American labor. They obviously they went for cheaper labor in another country. But what did they blame? Is it just 100% they just wanted, or is it because they think paying American citizens is more expensive? Do you know
I mean,
exactly the reason?
I
It,
think
it
exporting jobs is for cheaper cost. But at the same time, if you want to put it to a health thing, yeah, you got a point that people in other countries who aren't so decadent aren't going to be nearly as unhealthy because they don't have the access to, not
oh
because they're trying, but they don't have access to all the junk food and the amounts of junk food that we have, that we consume. So an American employer is going to look at their employees and go, wow, my health costs are going to be way higher here as
yeah.
well as my labor costs. So if I take it to Vietnam where they're eating rice and whatever, they're
No, but they
very
probably don't even have a health plan out there. I mean, they have no
right,
rights.
but they don't. Do they really need it so much? Right, these people aren't
Yeah,
eating all this junk food so much. They're
yeah,
eating rice and chicken and things like that. So they're a lot healthier. The labor cost is cheaper, and the health costs, they're going to have less health problems, even if they did have a health plan. Maybe
yeah.
you don't have to pay for it, but other countries that maybe you would have to pay for. My point is that most of the world is healthier than us as far as eating habits.
Oh hell yeah, for
So
sure.
that means the health cost for the employer is going to be less if they do have a health plan somewhere else than it would be here, because our people are going to be needing more health care.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So to I think this would actually help to bring back jobs. Would be, I mean, it's obviously the long route to to try to solve this problem, but to lower the cost of healthcare, you lower the cost of healthcare by obviously needing it less, and I think
Right.
basically these two ideas, your idea of people just exercising, my idea of just making your digestion a priority also. That would for sure lower the amount of people going to doctors and lower the cost of healthcare, and therefore lowering the cost of health plans that companies have to pay their employees and stuff like that. So
Right. Right.
what I mean. So I guess I thought what I mean. I know it's a long route to get to that, but if it was addressed and there was a discussion about it, which I never really see, but I've always wondered if that's the reason why they think jobs in America is too expensive, because they have to provide health care, but people are living unhealthy, therefore they're using the shit out of the healthcare system, and that's why it's
Right.
so expensive. And if
Exactly. They have to provide health care to people who don't live in any way, shape, or form a healthy life.
yeah, yeah. So if they just
So
educated
yeah,
people and
I mean, if Americans were healthy, living more healthier lives, then the healthcare system, the employer wouldn't be nearly as like, hey man, I've got to do something about this, because they're not going to have to spend that much on it, because the
yeah,
people aren't going to the doctor and needing health care that
yeah,
much.
yeah.
So yeah, it totally makes sense.
No, no. All right. Well, yeah, I've been thinking about that one. That's people that know me. I always talk about anytime anybody feels anything. I'm like, are you pooping? Are you backed
Ah,
up? When's the last? Because a lot of people, a lot of people don't go. Sometimes they go days without it, and you're supposed to go at least once a day. You know what I mean?
right,
But
right.
and the whole thing, the topic itself is just a funny topic. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you want to talk about that stuff?
Uncomfortable topic. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's a real thing. It's as important to your body as eating and breathing. It's digestion. So it's just as
Right.
important.
No, I mean, hey, you're bringing up a good point, man.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't really talk about that much. There's some doctors, that focus on that, but it's just not a mainstream topic. You know what I mean?
I
And
always
you,
thought, like I see laxatives all the time, like at work and the
oh
store and
yeah,
stuff
no,
like that. Like I was like, I mean, you really got to take something to make you go to the bathroom? Like it just sounded weird
yeah.
to me. I've never had that issue.
But it's
So
from that.
I
It's
was
just from
like,
unhealthy people that don't exercise. Because that's one. I think also one of the benefits of exercise is it actually moves around your guts and it actually helps things flow and stuff like that. So that's one of the,
exercise is going to flush everything. Like
yeah.
if you're moving, your body's going to be flushing, drinking water and moving.
Yep.
It's going to flush everything. It's going to keep everything moving, and it's like letting your car just sit for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then you turn it on. The seals are bad, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's going to
Exactly.
run a little rough at first, and the gas has gone bad, and you know what I mean. But if you're constantly driving it, you know you're going to be changing those fluids, and those seals are going to stay lubricated, etc.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Well,
put it
there.
on a car analogy, but
Well, then we agree, then, bro. Yeah. So basically, just education on on how to keep yourself healthy, and try to avoid going to the doctor.
and promote exercise. I mean, exercise. Honestly, man, I would tell
Yeah.
everybody out there, exercise. Exercise. If you keep your body moving, your body's gonna react to whatever you do. If you're
Yeah.
sedentary and you're sitting around all the time, your body's gonna get used to that, and then it's not gonna want to move, and all those fluids and all that stuff is just gonna sit there, and it's gonna cause problems. If you're moving, your body's gonna want to keep moving. It's gonna adapt to
Yeah.
that. It'll keep you younger for longer. You'll live longer. You'll feel better. So it's a choice. I always put it like this. Because I'm at the gym all the time. And I know a lot of personal trainers, and they'll be training somebody, and if somebody's like struggling a little, I always tell them, "Look, man, it's 1 hour of suffering a day for 23 hours of feeling great.
Yeah. Yeah. No shit.
You know, that's a great deal. You just got to put in an hour a day, and you're going to feel great for the remainder of that entire day. And and as you start doing it, after a while it becomes what you do, and you don't have a problem doing it because your body's already like geared up for that, so it's ready to go. And your psychology, your mentality is like, yes, I like doing this. It'll change from I have to do this to I want to do this. You're going
Yeah.
to feel better because when you exercise, it releases serotonin in the brain, which is a neurotransmitter. It's like an endorphin, makes you feel good, but it also um, gives you mental clarity, so you think clearer. So exercise has an effect on everything: your
Mm-hmm.
emotions, the physical parts of your body, the psychology. Everything is affected by exercise because we are not meant to sit still. There's nothing in the entire universe, in its entire existence, that ever sat still. Even if you're sitting still, your planet's moving. So
Yeah.
you're not sitting still. The whole universe is telling you movement is the key.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, damn. That's well said, Dan. Shit, you're motivating me to get up, and I'm probably gonna jog after this.
Yeah, I mean, and the
It's
thing
just,
is
I
like
think
it doesn't take long.
for most people, I think it's just getting over the initial hump. I already know that when you begin exercising and doing workouts, it's the beginning's the worst. It's the hardest part, But
It's tough at
yeah,
first,
yeah,
but you just go really light the first day and add a little bit more and a little bit more and a
uh,
little bit more as you go. You don't have to go real hard. It doesn't take very long before you're like at where you want to be,
yeah,
and then it all kicks into where, hey, this actually feels good and I want to do this. You'll feel better about yourself, your confidence. I mean, everything about you is
yeah,
better.
yeah. Oh
And
shit,
it's not that much work, honestly, for all the massive benefits you get.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Well, yeah. Well, more people need to be educated on that, man. But all right, Dan. Well, we're actually kind of running out of time, bro. So if you got on a schedule, this next question kind of ties into the last one. As far as my idea, how do we bring jobs to America? But I know it's a bigger topic. But to me, that was my idea. That basically, if these companies that left are blaming the fact that it's too expensive to employ a U.S. citizen, what is the reason? So I thought it might be healthcare. I might be, why.
Well, it's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, but what are the reasons? Why the hell would they just greed? I mean, could it just be 100% greed, or I mean, shit, wouldn't they? I don't know. I mean, I would assume it's greed. Obviously, most of the companies left after China entered the World Trade Organization, and that's actually what probably kicked off everything. No, I mean, in the year 2000 when they entered, all the companies left within the first like fuck. I think it was like 20,000 companies left within the first 6 years of China entering the WTO.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of factors that go on with that.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll have time to get into all that, bro. So if you're on a schedule, my brother, so we might come
Yeah, let's
follow.
save that for the next one
Well,
because
shit, we only
that's
got
actually
one question, but
well, we
it was a
did
good show
OJ
either
though.
way. Shit.
We did OJ though
Yeah, OJ and Secret
again.
Service. No, that was good though. Nah, hell no. Trust me, that video was. I couldn't believe that guy did that. I was like, holy shit, you just literally admitting it. And you think we're stupid? Like that's crazy shit, man. So I had to play that one. But then, all right, then, Dan. So if you got to take off, then yeah, we'll follow up. We'll talk after, and we'll set up the next show.
Okay.
But another good one, brother.
Yeah. Sorry, I gotta go to work. But my
Yeah, that's
timer
cool.
does say an hour 44.
Huh?
How long has it been? Hour and a half?
An hour and 20 minutes of the show, but I thought you said
Oh, okay.
12:30. I thought you said
All right,
you
so
got.
it'll be a little shorter than usual, but we'll pick up on the
Nah, that's
jobs
fine. It's
next
fine.
time.
Nah, I think yeah, we talked about some good stuff, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right then, Dan. We'll have a good day at work, bro, and we'll chop it up after.
Okay. All
Cool.
right. You take care.
All right, my brother.
All right. Bye.